Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing in the motorsport world lately. Imagine being 19 years old, dominating your rookie season in F2, and having the entire Red Bull family watching your every move. That's Nikola Tsolov's reality right now, and it's absolutely fascinating. Here's the deal: Tsolov is currently leading the F2 championship, and if you've been following his journey, it's hard not to be impressed. But what makes this really interesting is the confidence he exudes. When asked about his F1 future, he doesn't hesitate. He's convinced that if he keeps performing, an opportunity will come knocking. Personally, I think that kind of self-assurance is rare, especially in a sport where careers can hinge on a single season. It's not just about talent, it's about mindset, and Tsolov seems to have that in spades. Now, let's talk about the Red Bull connection. Being part of their junior program is no small feat. Red Bull doesn't just back anyone, they're known for spotting raw talent and nurturing it into championship material. What many people don't realize is that Tsolov's journey hasn't been linear. He was with Alpine before joining Red Bull in 2025, and that switch seems to have been a game-changer. His performance in FIA Formula 3, where he bagged 5 wins, was a clear signal that he's the real deal. But here's the thing: Red Bull's system is notoriously competitive. Being labeled next in line by Racing Bulls team principal Alan Permane is a huge vote of confidence, but it's also a reminder of the pressure he's under. If you take a step back and think about it, Tsolov's situation is a perfect example of how quickly things can escalate in motorsport when you're in the right program. One detail I find fascinating is how Tsolov handles the noise around his future. Earlier this year, there were rumors he'd be racing for Racing Bulls in 2027, but he brushed them off, focusing instead on his F2 campaign. In my opinion, that's the mark of a mature driver. The F1 world is full of distractions, and it's easy to get caught up in speculation. But Tsolov's approach, focusing on the present while keeping an eye on the bigger picture, is exactly what's needed to succeed at this level. What this really suggests is that he's not just fast on the track, he's smart off it too. Now, let's talk about the bigger implications. If Tsolov does make it to F1, it'll likely be with Racing Bulls, Red Bull's sister team. But here's where it gets interesting: Red Bull's driver lineup is already stacked, with Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez leading the charge. So, where does Tsolov fit in? Personally, I think he's being groomed as a long-term investment. Red Bull has a history of promoting from within, and Tsolov's rise feels like a natural progression. But it also raises a deeper question: with so much talent in the pipeline, how does Red Bull manage expectations? It's a delicate balance, and Tsolov's situation is a perfect case study. What makes Tsolov's story even more compelling is his background. As Bulgaria's first real F1 prospect, he's carrying the hopes of an entire nation. That's a lot of pressure for a 19-year-old, but so far, he's handling it with grace. From my perspective, this adds another layer to his narrative. He's not just racing for himself, he's paving the way for future Bulgarian drivers. If he succeeds, it could open doors for an entirely new generation of talent from a country that's never had a foothold in F1. That's huge. So, where does this leave us? Tsolov's future is far from certain, but one thing is clear: he's doing everything right. His focus on the F2 championship, his humility in the face of speculation, and his unwavering belief in his abilities all point to a driver who's ready for the next step. In my opinion, it's not a matter of if he'll get an F1 seat, but when. And when that day comes, it'll be fascinating to see how he adapts to the biggest stage in motorsport. For now, though, let's enjoy the ride and see how this story unfolds. What do you think? Is Tsolov the next big thing in F1, or is there more to prove? Let me know in the comments below.